Hello, everybody. How's it going? Welcome to the first beast mode of 2025. Got a lot of people in the house, and it's going to be awesome. So I had asked a question because I was like, okay, let me do something a little different. If you could be any beast, what beast would you be? Okay, so let's see who's in the house. And we've got Cynthia. Hello, Cynthia. Beast mode is back. Glad to have you in beast mode. Queen Alina fan says, watch the tip vid from this morning. Got to say, it's a great idea. Well, thank you. You guys probably have, or some of you probably have noticed, I have been back on YouTube. So at least for this month, I will be back on YouTube, and I'm dipping my toe into the water on TikTok and Instagram. So if you follow me, or if you don't follow me on any of those, and you can follow me, my TikTok, I get like 2 views per video. It's kind of depressing, but everybody's got to start at 0, right? So yeah, I'm doing a lot of videos, and I'm doing a lot of YouTube shorts. I actually like YouTube shorts more than like actual YouTube videos. I don't know, maybe it's because I don't have to do thumbnails. I'm the world's worst thumbnail creator. So, well, thank you for watching the video, Alina fan, and the Scooby Life. Hello, Scooby. We're looking forward to my first beast mode. Awesome. And I think we've got some new people here. So if you're not familiar with what the format is here, just hold your beer for a second and I'll go over it. Okay, blessed or messy, good everything. Hey, hello, welcome to the stream. Good to see you again. And don't forget, folks, I do have a Discord. So authorlevelup.com/Discord if you would like to join. We're having a lot of fun. We're a small but mighty group, but we're all cheering each other on and posting our progress and what we're doing in beast mode every day. So I know Discord is not for everybody, but if you want to engage, I am in there several times every day. So I fell off the wagon last year, but I'm a lot better on my Discord game this year. Okay, blessed or messy would be Leo the Lion Beast. Nice. I'm a Leo myself, so that's why I had to make the first image a lion. So I probably would be a lion too. All right, good morning, Ty. Good to have you here. And FW Thompson, waiting for your coffee to be done. Well, I hope your coffee is done now, FW, because we're about to jump in. And the Scooby Life is coming from Southern Cal. Nice. Dahigi, Mr. Beast Mode himself, is back. Dahigi had an amazing year last year, man. You were blowing me away. So I'm excited to see what you do again this year. All right, Deb, good morning. Good morning, Deb. Good to have you. And FW, you get the air horn. All right, had to change an appointment 5 minutes after making it for today because it was beast mode. I am so honored that you changed an appointment. That is discipline, my friend. That is discipline. So thank you for doing that. Glad you're here. And Michelle is here. Hello, Michelle. And Drone Pro is ready to beast. And Lou says, I wanted to be a wolf, but wolves are a social animal, which I am not. And then I countered and said that wolves can be lone wolves too. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, nothing wrong with being a wolf. I think a wolf would be my second favorite, actually. I'm kind of a lone wolf myself. Okay, Drone Pro, for my beast, I'd choose a fantasy beast, like a rat with pointy eyes, lots of tentacles and arms. Okay, so I love your imagery, but I'm just thinking about those pointy eyes. Like, what's up with that? That's cool. That just caught me off guard for a second. I thought you were going to say pointy ears. So I like rats too. I wrote a whole series about rats, so I'm with you on that. Athena, do invertebrates count as beasts because they go beast mode on my garden? Yeah, you could be like this. You could be like a monstrous snail. How about that? Everybody thinks you're really slow, but then you just catch them off guard with like a side hook that takes 10 years, but they just don't see it coming. All right, Ulkesh. Hello, good to see you. Okay. Cynthia, cheetah. All right, yeah, I like that. Cheetah. It's a sprint, not a marathon, right? I had to say that correctly. Stephen Stringfellow, I'm a beast, but I choose a manticore. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so you're the first. We're going mythical here. I like that. Dahigi, 100% honey badger. Okay, badgers can be mean, so I'm with you on that. And Keybale is in the house. Stingray or bat, unless fantasy world and then dragon. Okay. Okay. We got to get the applause, Gay Najo. I'd be a man. The best beast of all. Nice. Guys are killing me. Okay, Ulkesh, the YouTube shorts have been good. Thank you. Thank you. It's good to get some feedback. They're definitely, they get a lot more views than I thought they were going to get. So I'm happy with that. And Queen Alina says, YouTube shorts are very useful if you can say benefits from the short form. Yeah, I agree. And Mark, hey, I love your avatar. Love the squirrel. That squirrel kind of looks like Batman. All right, I had a squirrel thought. All right, I would be a big panda, please. Nice. Well, okay, so I did all of my thumbnails for beast mode, and ironically, so I had a tiger in my thumbnail for beast mode this week. I think next week is, I think it's a gorilla, and then the third week I can't remember what it is. But then the fourth week I've got this crazy panda. Like I found this art on this stock photo site, so you definitely want to tune in and look at that because I was like, I never thought a panda would be so badass, but that was awesome. So I think we're on the same wavelength. Okay. Ulkesh says, I just finished a workout and showered in time to start beast mode. Nice. And FW Thompson says, I do an 11 p.m. or later beast mode. I'm glad you asked that because I am going to be doing a late night beast mode. And I did a poll in the Discord and everybody that voted, at least, said that they would do it from 8 p.m. Central to 11 p.m. So anytime within that, FW. So I'm not sure yet. I kind of have to find the time that the most people would do. So if you're watching and you would attend a late night power hour in the middle of the week, let me know what time, Central Time, you would do it. I'm willing to stay up late. I got no problem with that, but I just want to make sure that people will join me, because I don't want to be up at 11 o'clock and just be a zombie. And, it is what it is. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, Ulkesh says I'd be a gorilla, and Deb says she'd be an alley cat. Okay, so why don't we do this? We have some new people here, so I want to explain the format of the Power Hour for those of you who are not familiar with it. So this is a live stream. I normally do this the first Saturday of the month. So first Saturday of the month, you can set your calendar. I'll be here. But we're doing it every week this month for Beast Mode. And so what we do is we all get together, and in the next minute or two, I'm going to play some music, and I'm going to put some nice graphics on the screen, and then we all just go into Beast Mode and we write. So whatever you want to work on, if you want to work on your novel, you want to work on editing, screenplays, even your homework, we've had some people do that. That's all good. And then it'll be 20 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll just have some fun. I'll answer any questions that you guys have. You guys know I will answer any question that you ask me. And then we'll have another session for 20 minutes, and then we'll come back and chill, and then a final session, and then I will stay on until all your guys' questions are answered. And because it's Beast Mode, I'm happy to stay on a little bit longer if you guys have more questions. And as a heads up, I will probably be turning a lot of your questions into videos if it works out that I can make it into a YouTube short. All right. So if you see some people that come in and say, what is this? What is this guy doing? We haven't had that in a long time, but you guys know what to do. I know you'll have my back. Okay, so thank you guys for sharing your times. Okay, that would be helpful. Okay, it's good to know. Okay, and yeah, okay, so why don't we do this? I'm going to get the first timer going. Let's get 20 minutes on the clock. Let's go into Beast Mode. And, I can't help myself. Just, all right. I'll try not to be too obnoxious, guys. So 20 minutes on the timer. Good luck, and let's do it. Hey guys, I'm having some trouble streaming. I'm going to see if I can create a new stream, so just bear with me. Let's see. Okay, so first things first, can you guys hear me? I think it might be my streaming software. I think that might be the problem. So if you can hear me, let me know. Okay, so you guys can hear me. I think it my software updated. So it seems to be working when I'm on the screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something a little different for our next 20 minutes. I'm just going to put an image on the screen, and then I think I'll just put the timer on that. That'll probably be a little bit easier. But anyway, our time is technically up. So how did everybody do? That was a fast 20 minutes. It was like the first thing I knew, it was like, oh, the stream is over. Wait, what's going on here? Okay, so the show will go on. Sometimes things happen and we just kind of roll with it, right? So thank you guys for your patience. Let me know, how many words did you get and how are you feeling about it? Okay, let's see. Okay. Yeah, there's some lag, I think, on the on the on the screen, which is just too bad. It's unfortunate, but it happens. It doesn't happen that often, but it does happen. Let's see. Okay, so I'm seeing some folks pop in. Okay, so Ty is 194 words, feeling good, working on a book I started 10 years ago. Wow. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Yeah, that's good. This is a good opportunity to start that and restart it. All right, Cynthia, editing a cozy fantasy today. Dahigi, good start, feeling pumped, 384 words. And Gay Nanjo, we only got 84, not in full beast mode yet. But you know what? You got to get 84 to get 8,400, right? Okay, so let's see. Keybale, 128. Was that really 20 minutes? Or did I go into a time vortex? Yeah, maybe it wasn't quite 20 minutes, but it was pretty close. Maybe, yeah, my sense of time got knocked off because I'm trying to restart my computer and do all this stuff. So we are getting there. And Jill just joining right now for the next sprint. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So if you guys don't mind me, I'm going to tap dance for a minute and I'm going to get things ready for our next timer. But I have to kind of do something a little different. So I'm just going to throw the lion on the screen again. Okay. And then hopefully the stream doesn't get messed up, but hopefully you guys probably can still hear me. So then I'm going to create a timer. And it's going to look a little janky for a minute, but 'tis what it is. Okay, so you guys can see the timer. At least I know that. So that is good. Okie dokie. So, okay. So ignore all that stuff here for a second. So I'm going to take care of a few more technical issues. Let's go ahead and jump into our next timer. And I will play a little bit of music as well. Okay. So thanks, guys, for your patience and good luck in your second session. Okay. Just want to make sure everybody can hear me, but I think we're good. So I kind of had to. Sorry for the streaming issues. Not sure what's going on, but I think it's my streaming software. It's acting a little weird after an update. So I went ahead and updated it and did a bunch of stuff in the background. But the downside is I have to do everything manual for the rest of the day today. So it's going to look a little weird, but hopefully everybody was able to get some writing in, and we'll just keep on rolling. So let me know, how many words did you get and how are you feeling? And then if you guys have questions, give me your questions and we'll keep on rolling. So I obviously didn't get any writing done. I tried. I'm in the process of resuming a short story that I haven't been able to finish, mainly because of life circumstances. I'm like maybe 700 words into the story, and so I need to resume it and get going because I've got a bunch of stuff that I have to do. Like I'm still doing my Ray Bradbury challenge, so I'm writing a bunch of short stories, but then I've also been commissioned for some stuff, and so I kind of have to get to that, and so that's why I need to go into beast mode. Okay. Blessed or messy? I'm editing. Face purple, crying. Oh, well, I hope it's going okay. I don't know what the meaning of that emoji is, but it sounds like you're feeling some sort of way. And Lou says, I just did some editing. And let's see. Gay Nanjo, getting into it now. 174. Okay, see, 84 turned into 174. Work some stuff out too. Deep lore about Mana Parkins. I don't know who Mana Parkins is. Okay, cool. Cynthia says, feeling good on this edit. And Cynthia, if you feel good, then the words are good. And Jill says, sorry about the tech issues. Yeah, it happens. And I wrote 277 words. Awesome. And Mark, 166. Okay, you guys are doing some good work here. 70 words, not much, but I'm reading over what I wrote before, feeling productive. That's all that matters, Ty. And Dahigi says, 279 words this go round. Nice. And Not Jack, who just joined the Discord, by the way. Welcome to the Discord too, Not Jack. First session of the day, 453 words. Feeling great and glad you got the stream back up. Yeah, me too. I use a streaming app. It's called Ecamm, and I would highly recommend it. I've never really had any issues with it. But one of the cool things about Ecamm is that it keeps your stream. So if the stream stops, like it doesn't, you don't have to start a new stream, which I think is what kind of saved my bacon this time around. So I'm still going to go yell at him, but maybe I won't yell at him as loudly for all these tech issues. All right, Keybale, 492 words this time and finished a chapter. Athena, editing. I'm sensing a theme here. Seems like everybody's editing today, which is totally cool. And Steven, again, I did not get a lot of words this time, but actually got some down that I like. Well, that's good. And Deb, still editing. And Blessed or Messy, question. Are you still speaking your short stories using Dragon, or I forget the name of the program? So the question is, am I still speaking my stories? Yes, I still dictate. I have a voice recorder, but lately I've been dictating with just my AirPods Pro. And the reason I do that is because there's an app called ProseWrite, and it uses AI, and it doesn't need like a really high quality microphone. And so ProseWrite takes my voice memo app, whatever I save, like audio that I record, and then it turns it into dictated text. And the cool thing about ProseWrite is that it will edit your text as you go. So you don't have to worry as much about cleanup or dictating messy, because the power of AI helps you with all that. So yes, I'm still speaking my short stories, still dictating, and I do it when I walk my dog. I do it when I'm doing dishes. I do it just when I'm walking around my office sometimes. Like, it's just easier to speak than it is to write. So yeah, and I don't use Dragon anymore, ironically. I think it's been maybe 6 to 8 months since I've used Dragon. Once I started using ProseWrite, I just kind of never went back. So I still recommend Dragon for people that, either ProseWrite doesn't work for them or whatever. But yeah, I've also used Mac Whisper. That's another alternative that a lot of people like. But the downside to Mac Whisper is that it does not clean up your text, and the transcripts are really messy. like really messy. I mean, I tested it again just to see if it had changed like 2 months ago, and it was really messy. So you have to kind of take everything that you dictate into Mac Whisper into like Chat GPT or maybe like a Microsoft Copilot or something to clean it up, and that's an extra step. Whereas with ProsWrite, you feed it through and it just comes out nice and clean. Okay. And then I have done a review of ProsWrite on my channel. It's one of my more recent videos. So if you just go to my YouTube channel and look for ProsWrite, then you can check it out. And I'll have some more news around ProsWrite very soon that I think you guys will be really interested in. I just wasn't able to get it together for it today. Okay, the Scooby Life. I have questions regarding short stories. What are your recommended sizes? I'm assuming we can't publish one short story because it's too short. Also, how many short stories are you going to put in your book? Yeah, that's a really good question, Scooby. So, okay, what are my recommended? What is the recommended length for short stories? My answer is whatever you want it to be. Now, there is a difference between flash fiction and short stories, and we can have some academic debates on what those limits are. But generally, for me, anything over 2,500 words, I would consider to be a short story. Maybe anything less probably would be more in the realm of flash fiction. And my short stories tend to be anywhere from 5,000 to 7,000 words, sometimes a little bit less. That is generally what magazines are looking for, anthologies are looking for. And if you get a little higher than that, then you start writing stuff that's not marketable and not able to sell to magazines. So that's what I would recommend. Although I would say 5,000 is a sweet spot. I have a story that is under consideration for an anthology, and the editor, I was within the limits, but the editor reached back out to me and said, "Hey, can you trim this down to 5,000?" So 5,000 to me seems to be the sweet spot, but that's just Michael Laroun's opinion only. Okay. And then the next question is, I'm assuming we can't publish one story because it's too short. No, you can publish one short story if you want to. There are a lot of authors that do that. Dean Wesley Smith, for example, publishes a single version of every short story that he writes, and he sells them for, a couple bucks. So you can do that. Now, the downside is that you have to create a cover for it. And also it does create some logistical issues when you're getting your books in front of readers, because if you write a lot of short stories, you have a lot of books if you turn every one into a book. So it can be done, and I don't think there's any shame in it. You just have to be intentional about how you do it. So the next question is, how many short stories am I going to put in my book? In my short story collections, I generally have about 10 to 11, and that's just my own personal thing. If my stories are on average 5,000 to 7,000 words, then that ends up being about 50 to 70,000 words, which I think is a perfectly acceptable length and range for a short story collection. All right. Okay. Bone Cracker. I like that name. 200 words outlining, not sure which direction I'll be going. All good. Okay, FW, reading over a story so far, hoping to complete book 1 this month during beast mode. Nice. And I'm going to spend a little bit more time on comments, guys, just because of the tech issues. I want to make sure I address everybody. And Cynthia, putting out a book next week. Hey, one set to go for next month. Cynthia, you get the applause. All right. Anytime you guys have a book out, please let me know. Please, we can celebrate it in the chat. Okay. And Cynthia said, I spent all of 2024 drafting a bunch of works. Nice, nice. Hey, and Deb, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. So glad to do these every month. And Jill says, Mac Whisper is one giant paragraph. Yeah, that's the poison pill with Mac Whisper. It's cheaper, but then you get stuff like that, right? So maybe they'll fix that one day. I don't know. And Lou says, OBS Studio is really popular with Twitch streamers, although they seem to struggle with it a lot. But at the same time, streamers aren't known for their high IQ. So take that for a grain of salt. Ouch. Okay, now Lou. Ow, ow, ow! I'm just playing. I know. It's all good. OBS, I actually can't use OBS. And the reason for it is because there's some weird issue with Macs that I can't use it. So you guys know Dale Roberts. Dale got me. He was kind of teaching me a little bit about OBS because that's what he used for a long time. I don't think he uses it anymore, and I couldn't get it to work. And it turns out there's some issue with Macs, the way that Mac audio's audio chips work or whatever. I don't know. Okay. Blessed or Messy, do you keep a chapter word count range? No, not really. Although most of my chapters end up shaking out, generally speaking, around 2,000 to 3,000 words. I think anything longer than that, you start risking fatigue. But that said, I'm not hard and fast on rules. There is a time and a place for everything, right? So there is a time and a place for chapters that are 50 words. There's a time and a place for chapters that are 10,000. I think you ultimately want to follow wherever your artistic vision is going. But I do think that readers have short attention spans, and the best thing you can do is to get them to turn the page, right? And shorter-ish chapters, get them to turn the page. And psychologically, it becomes like a, subliminal thing. So if they're turning the page and the chapters are coming up faster, they're technically getting through it faster. And if they get through it faster, then psychologically they're thinking, oh, this is a really fast-paced novel. They've got me on the seat of my pants, that sort of thing, or the seat of my chair. And that made no sense. But I think you're picking up what I'm laying down. So yes, I think shorter chapters are better, but there is a time and a place for everything. Okay, Drone Pro, is there a difference between scenes and chapters? How do you group them? Drone Pro, give me some more information. Are you talking about within the writing app itself, or in terms of the structure of the app? So I'll answer it both ways, but you tell me which you're thinking. So in terms of the actual book itself, how do you group scenes versus chapters? So there's this philosophical debate that, some people like to have multiple scenes within a chapter. So if I'm driving to a coffee shop, for example, just use something mundane. If I'm driving to a coffee shop and then I'm in the coffee shop meeting with someone, and then I go out of the coffee shop and then I'm having a conversation with that person in the parking lot, that's technically 3 different scenes, right? Driving to, being at the coffee shop, and then having a conversation with somebody in the parking lot. Now, some writers will just include all of that in one chapter. Other writers will have one scene in the car, one scene at the coffee shop, and then another scene in the parking lot. There's no wrong answer. And sometimes I'll have everything in one thing, one chapter, and then sometimes I'll break it up. And I think the guiding light for me is, what is the opening of the chapter and what is the ending? So I like to end my chapters on cliffhangers. So if you can end your chapter on a cliffhanger that makes sense, if you've got it all together, then do that. If you need to break everything up to make it more cliffhangery, then break it up, and just don't hold yourself to any rule. Now, as far as the writing app goes, that will dictate how I break everything up. Okay, Drone Pro says, I feel like a scene is a chapter. Why wouldn't it be? Yeah, I think that's the prevailing wisdom. I think most people would agree on that. But again, I can't. The more I write, the more I truly believe this in every bone in my body. There is a time and a place for everything. So I think that's a good default, though. Yeah, in Scrivener, scenes are different text files than chapters, or at least they can be. Yes, and you can set Scrivener up however you want. So I mean, if you want to, you can do it however you want, Drone Pro. But do what feels right. Do what feels right. Okay, so why don't we do this, gang? It's that time, so let's jump into our final session. Then we'll come back, we'll have some fun, and keep answering questions if you guys got them. So let me get everything going, and happy writing. Okay. Focus my camera here. Okay, we got through our final session, gang. Let me know how you did. So, what was your word count for the day? And then how you're feeling about it. And then, more importantly, what is your goal for the rest of the weekend? So, what do you hope to accomplish by Sunday night at 11:59 p.m.? All right. And you can do all of the above or one of the above or whatever you want to post. So we had some more comments come in. Let's see, from Keybale, continuing our conversation on chapters. If you do a longer chapter, can't you do a chapter break? It gives readers a place to stop, but you're still dealing with the character or area that the chapter is focusing on. Yeah, absolutely, Keybale. Absolutely. You might have several chapters that take place within within the same place, right? Like within the same setting or scene, or you might jump to another character that's in another setting or scene and then come back to that. Yeah, absolutely. There's no rules, right? There's no rules. There's a time and a place for everything. Do what feels intuitive to you. Do what feels right in your gut, and you'll do it correctly. Okay. Call me Abigail. Any advice for a first-time book writer who is trying to go from idea to published in 3 months? Abigail, that is aggressive. That is really aggressive. Not saying it can't be done, and that's awesome. You're a first-time writer. I would say, if you are truly driven and you think that you can do all of this within 3 months, so idea, writing the book, publishing the book, marketing it, getting it all out there, go for it. I would argue that's not sustainable in the long term. I've done that myself. I've written books in a week and published them and got I've done it. I've lived that life. Trust me. It's not sustainable. I would focus with your first book. It's not so much about the speed. It's more about learning how everything works. So how do you open a book? How do you format it? How do you do the cover? And in many ways, that first book is more about mistakes that you make that you learn from as opposed to successes. So if you want to do that, go for it. What I would tell you if you do want to do that is really study other authors that are further along the path than you. What is it that they're doing? How did they get there? And then how can you reverse engineer that given your timeline, right? So that probably does mean that you're going to have to invest and spend a little bit more money than the average author, because if you want to hit that quality, you're going to have to pony it up. Or, you could put your blood, sweat, and tears into it, but that's going to take more time. And with 3 months, you don't have a whole lot of time, right? So that means to me that you probably want to pay for and outsource some of that. So, I don't think that means hiring an assistant or, hiring somebody for your social media, but I do think it means, hiring a higher quality cover designer, working with editors, using services like a book brush or, learning Photoshop, that sort of thing, like high quality tools. Because I think the danger that you fall into if you do it in 3 months, if you do everything on a shoestring budget, it's going to look like you did it on a shoestring budget, and it's your first book, right? You want to put your best face forward. All right. Those are my thoughts. You let me know what you think. Okay. Drone Pro says, I think AI is amazing. There are many who look down on it. Am I wrong for using AI to think through things as part of my writing process? No, you're not wrong at all, Drone Pro. I think you're in the majority. I think that you're in a minority of the majority who's willing to talk about it. I think people are understandably skittish in sharing their thoughts on AI just because of all the pitchforks. And I think, people with the pitchforks aren't wrong, but I do think that you're right. We shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? There are really, really good ways to use AI today that don't violate the rights of artists or other creators. And I think you're on the right path, because your second comment says, I even use the image generator to help generate ideas for stories. Sometimes looking at the image of a house next to a pond triggers new story ideas. Yeah, absolutely. So I was just yesterday, I'm having a bit of I wouldn't call it an existential crisis, but I really am having a crisis in figuring out what my next series is going to be, because I have two equally cool ideas that make me jump out of bed in the morning, and I'm struggling to figure out which one I want. And so I was in the new version of Midjourney, and I was just kind of getting some concept ideas of like what the main character could look like, what the world could look like. And I'm going to share that with a few people in my inner circle and kind of get their thoughts. But yeah, AI, because of AI, I was able to kind of generate that idea and kind of figure out what some of those weaknesses are. And yeah, I will absolutely use AI to kind of help me flesh out some of the ideas and think about things that I haven't considered. And when I'm writing the book, I use AI sometimes to help me with imagery, like how could this be sharper, or is there a better word that I'm trying to go for here? And it helps me with editing, so proofreading, looking for typos and things like that. I use Prose That's AI to help me with dictation and help me clean up my work. I use AI in my marketing images sometimes. I use AI to help me with copywriting. With my social media posts, I've been doing a beast mode post every day on my socials, and I've used AI to kind of help me clean up and make some of the text punchier and stickier for people that are scrolling. So yeah, AI can help you be a better version of yourself. AI can also help you do tremendous evil in the world, and none of us are here for that, right? So, okay, I'll get off that sound. I need like a sound of like footsteps or something. That's the sound of me getting off my soapbox. Okay. Idongasit, I hope I said your name correctly. When is the good time to buy ISBN numbers as a new author? I have 2 short poetry books I'm going to publish. Yeah, it's never too early to buy ISBNs. I think ISBNs are expensive. They're definitely expensive if you buy them a la carte, like one at a time. If you think you're going to be doing this for a while, I would buy a block. I don't remember what the blocks are anymore, but I think you can buy a block of like 10 or 50, or you can even go all the way up to 1,000. I think I bought 1,000 just because I didn't want to have to deal with it anymore. So yeah, it's never too early to do that because you're not required to do anything with them. You can buy the ISBNs and then publish the book later. So that's something you can do. The only caution I would make with ISBNs is make sure that you know who you're going to publish your books under. So for example, if you want to start a publishing company, when I say publishing company, I'm using air quotes because it just means your publishing company is the company that publishes your own books. But if you want to create a company and be more professional, do that before you buy your ISBNs. Don't buy your ISBNs yet. Get your company all filed with the state and all that stuff, or with wherever country you live in. Get all that paperwork taken care of and get your company done, and then buy the ISBNs. Because once you buy your ISBNs, you cannot change the company. So whoever purchases the ISBNs becomes the publisher of record. So I've talked to people in the past that have bought ISBNs and then realized, oh, you know what? I bought those under my main name, but I actually think I want to start a company called Willow Tree Publishing or whatever. Well, you can't go back. You have to buy new ISBNs under Willow Tree, right? So that's just things you learn after you've done this a while. But no, buy them whenever you can afford to. Okay, Drone Pro, 350 words. Goal for weekend is to finish my first act. Nice, Drone Pro. And beast mode, ultimate beast mode that time. 488 words. Nicely done. Nicely done. Bone Cracker, 562 words. The goal would be to write 2 hours Sunday would be the current goal. Awesome. That's a good goal. It's a good goal. It's clear. It's defined. I like it. FW, hoping to complete chapter 7. Okay. Ulkesh, I've been getting numerous note files off my phone and onto my laptop and organized properly. Good. And Lou, I didn't count, but I finished editing an article and now I just published it. Cool. Well, congratulations on publishing that and getting it out there. And Cynthia, feeling good. Going to clean up this edit, read through, and upload for Sunday. Awesome. And good luck with that first book. And Blessed or Messy, weekend goal. Edit book so I can rewrite the book. I've been away from the book too long and to start writing just yet. Yep. Well, you got to do what you got to do, but you'll ramp up and you'll get there. And Athena, got through 1.5 chapter edits, doing more of the same this weekend. Would be great to get through 6 to 8 chapters though. I think you could do it. That's not I don't know how long your chapters are, Athena, but I think 6 to 8 chapters, you could easily do that. That's no problem at all. I find when I'm doing editing, I can get through a lot more than I think I can get through. The issue is just fatigue. Just make sure you take breaks because that is real, and your eyes start to miss stuff. So just beware of that. But I think 6 to 8 chapters, I don't think that's an issue. B Matrix, finishing editing 3 chapters by end of the weekend. Okay. And FW said his dog, or I'm assuming dog, interrupted you. She said furball. So Scooby Life asked, what kind of dog? All right. And let's see. Dahigi, 412 words this block. 1,075 for the power hour. Nicely done. I hope to have the first chapter done, 6,000 words-ish, by tomorrow evening. Cool. Not Jack, 440 words. And, okay. Not hip with what's going on there. And Ty says 6 words for this session, 275 total. I got distracted about where my character was and started messing with the fantasy map in Incarnate. I haven't heard of Incarnate. Is that an app? Do tell. I'm sure other people might be interested. My goal is to write every day this month. Awesome. That's a good goal, Ty. All right. So we're 5 days in. So you've got 25 days left. You can do it. And FW. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Gay Nanjo. How do you get readers attached to characters that have a bad fate later down the line? Yeah. Just pretend that. Well, I shouldn't say pretend because that's not accurate. Just ignore the bad fate and treat that character like you would treat any other character. So I'm assuming this is either a main character or a supporting character. Maybe it's not Nanjo, but that's cool too. But treat them like you would treat any other character of that class. So if it's a main character, treat that character like you would treat any other main character. Treat the supporting character like you would treat any other supporting character. If it's a minor character, treat them like you would treat any other character. And what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is you still give them the same level of characterization, in terms of what they look like, how they're feeling, how they react to things, getting inside their head, if that's part of the POV. Just treat them the same, okay? And let the reader get attached, okay? And then when you yank the carpet out down the line and they have a bad fate, then the reader's going to feel it more. Because I think the danger is if you know that the character is going to have a bad fate, which I'm assuming it's either death or being maimed or having some sort of personal misfortune, which I think we are all very good at writing on the page, then the tendency subconsciously is to give that character less. But actually, you want to give them more because then the reader's going to feel it more when you actually yank the carpet out. So, it's a bit of Schadenfreude there. We're being a little mean to the readers, but they will hate you in the best possible way. Let's put it that way. Okay, Deb says, making good progress on the chapter I've been editing. Nicely done, Deb. And let's see. Okay, call me Abigail. Okay, good. The advice, just want to make sure. Okay, Keybell says, 268 this sprint, started a new chapter, and had to get into this chapter's mindset. Every other chapter switches between my 2 main characters. Oh, okay. So yeah, that's then definitely what I said earlier about staying in the same scene definitely applies to what you're working on. So 775 words this power hour. Nicely done. Okay, FW, I'm at the point where I have to think about getting to the end of the book. It's a good place to be. It's a good place to be. Now, if you have to think about it, then that's one thing. But if you're at the point where it's starting to come up, there's a point in every novel that I write into the dark. So you guys know I have no idea what's going to happen in my books. The only thing I know is how it's going to start, like a hero in a setting with a problem. And I see a couple of highlights of maybe big things that could happen in the novel, but that's never guaranteed, never guaranteed. So when you're writing into the dark, like I do, there's a point, it's around, maybe it can happen as early as like 60%, and it can happen as late as 80%, but I call it the glimmer. And the glimmer is when all of a sudden somebody turns the lights on and you see exactly what's going to happen for the rest of the book. Like you see everything. You see the ending. You see all the emotional stuff that's going to happen in the final battle. You see everything. And when you see that, then you start running toward it. So maybe you're at the glimmer, FW, or maybe it's coming really close. So once you see the glimmer, that's when I usually start running for the border. I get everything going because I know that it's going to end soon, and you can use that energy. It's like an alchemy, right? You use that energy and you funnel it into finishing the book. Okay, Mark says 106 words last sprint. I don't have a goal for this weekend, but since you asked, I'm pondering whether to set one. Yeah, it doesn't hurt, Mark. And you don't always have to hit the goal either. You know, that's the secret to goal setting. A lot of people set goals and then they beat themselves up when they don't hit the goal, and then they don't set goals anymore. But the reality is, when you set a goal, you are subconsciously orienting yourself toward it. And when you hit the goal, you get some confidence. And even when you don't hit the goal, that's okay too. There's, that's the thing I always try to impress on people, is that nobody's going to come to your house and shoot you because you didn't write 100 words on Sunday. That's not the goal. The point is discipline for discipline's sake, because your future self will thank you for the work that you're doing today. You don't necessarily know how, but there will be a day where you're grateful that you wrote that 100 words, right? And setting a goal and helping yourself get there is good stuff. Okay. The Scooby Life. And then Key Bale. Anything can help you do good or evil in the world depending on your intent. Yeah, exactly. Going back to AI. I always think of Pokemon. There's no such thing as a good or bad Pokemon. Only bad Pokemon trainers. Okay. Call back to the anime. Okay, Steven, I'm a slow writer, so I have 148 words for the session. My goal is just to make progress. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, Ty says, Incarnate is a great fantasy making software online. Okay, it is $25 for a year, and you can use the maps in your books. You get the rights to do that. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Why didn't I know that? That would be a cool app to show on the channel. Thank you for that idea. Okay, Keybell Wright says, Incarnate is pretty great. I create maps in there of character homes, worlds, cities, etc. Okay, awesome. Okay, Okesh, I'm aiming to finish the Writers of the Future free writing workshop this week. My next task in the workshop is doing some research on what a concierge does for a story I'm going to write soon. Cool. Yeah, that's a good workshop. You should get some value out of that. I was actually just on the Writers of the Future podcast with John Goodwin. We actually recorded it live at the Superstars Writing Conference. So it's a cool contest. They do some really cool things for writers. So Bonecracker, I've never written a book currently. I am writing from a group of nightmares I've had, currently building a story around those. Cool. Yeah, Keybell says the glimmer is cool wordage. Yeah, because that's what it feels like. When you're writing into the dark and you have no idea what's going to happen, it works. Cynthia Gates says Pokemon wisdom. Yeah, there's a lot of wisdom in Pokemon. Pokemon and Sesame Street. The two things I keep going back to often. I think everything you need to be successful in life, like to be a functioning adult, you learned on Sesame Street. Like, be sure to share, and be sure to share your feelings with other people, and be nice to each other, be kind and compassionate. It really doesn't get any more complicated than that. Elmo was a sage, and so was Big Bird. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so let me announce the date of our next Power Hour, although everybody knows it's going to be on Saturday, but I just want to say the date. Okay, so the next Power Hour will be Saturday, April 12th at 10 a.m. Central Time. And the next Power Hour will be a little different. The format will be the same, but I'm going to be on the road. So I'm going to have to use StreamYard as my next streaming. So the graphics and stuff will look a little bit different, but we'll still be here. We'll still be carrying on. All right. So I am going to, let's see, a couple more comments. Okay, Mark, I brought you over to the dark side. You set a goal now. Cool. And Dahigi said Snuffleupagus beast mode. Yeah, that's what somebody could be like an angry Snuffleupagus or Snuffleupagus. I would Snuffle. I'm just going to stop saying his name because I know I'm saying it wrong. Okay. And Okesh says that was a great podcast episode. Oh, on the Writers of the Future. Thank you. And Casey Snipes says, yes, Mr. Rogers as well for me. Yes. Gotta love Mr. Rogers as well. Okay, so gang, I think we can call it a day here. Thank you for putting up with all the tech issues. Great job hitting your goals. And I will see you guys next Saturday. But don't forget, you can join the Discord, and you can also follow me on social media. I've got lots of writing tips on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and TikTok if you want to keep the conversation going between now and then. So thank you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you next Saturday. Bye.